Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news. Camilla was left speechless by Prince George's daring statement during his first royal duty with a parent. An insider source stated Camilla is upset with Prince George for overshadowing her at VE Day and for his reaction to an elderly soldier's question about her. The outcome surprises everyone there. This film examines Prince George and Camilla, Queen Consort's conflict. Young Prince takes center stage. Prince George of Wales has grown from a chubby child watching from palace balconies to a mature pre-teen with royal duties. From attending the state funeral of his great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, to participating in ceremonial processions for his grandfather, King Charles III, George, the firstborn of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, has garnered attention for his growing confidence and poise. Despite the attention, Prince George's aloofness toward his step-grandmother, Queen Camilla, is intriguing. Palace insiders and observers have speculated about tensions behind the palace's elegant facade in recent years. George, now second in line to the throne, is polite but distant around Queen Camilla. At public events, he stays with his parents or siblings, giving Camilla just official attention. The boy's candor has sometimes surprised the new queen, and may have revived old wounds, sources say. In real time, a youngster accidentally crosses adult animosities and historical sadness, creating a complex royal schism. Camilla's high hopes and dark reality. After King Charles married Camilla in 2005, she became William and Harry's stepmother and step-grandmother. According to royal biographer Angela Levin, Prince William set early boundaries on Camilla's engagement in his children's lives. In Camilla, From Outcast to Queen Consort, Levin said that William has stated that Camilla is his father's wife, but not his children's step-grandmother. George and his brothers know they have two grandfathers, but one grandma, Catherine's mother, Grandma Carol Middleton. Camilla was not the Wales children's grandma from the start. Camilla has mainly accepted this arrangement. Levin notes that Camilla, with 5 biological grandchildren, has not sought to assume any responsibilities as a step-grandmother to George and his brothers, despite their close links to the Middletons. Camilla joked that her biological grandkids call her Gaga, a nickname she likes. A source claimed the Queen was pleased. She has her children and grandchildren, so she would not seek to take children from others. George and Charlotte call Camilla Camilla instead of Grandma. However, Camilla is a different grandma to the Wales children than Carol Middleton or Princess Diana. Camilla secretly wanted to be Charles's grandchildren's beloved grandmother, according to sources. Her grandkids like her, and she entertains them with stories and sweets at her rural home. Camilla must be careful with William's kids. The position of step-grandmother can be particularly challenging, and considering Camilla's history with George, Charlotte, and Louis's biological grandmother Diana, it must have been more difficult to manage than usual, said royal commentator Judy James. Camilla's presence in the royal family reminds us of Charles and Diana's troubled marriage. The next generation feels the legacy of the history. Palace reports say Camilla has been astonished by George's behavior. It was surprising to Camilla that George treated her like a boss rather than a loving grandma, according to one source. Camilla was reportedly surprised when George foolishly stated Granny Diana in her presence. A youngster unfamiliar with his departed grandmother made the foolish comment, yet it highlighted Diana's memories. It has resulted in some discomfort, the source claimed, adding that Camilla comprehends the rationale, yet it remains painful without Charles. George, 10, is always kind to Camilla, who is polite in return. George and his maternal grandmother Carol are close, yet stories show an emotional distance. A family friend says George is excited with Granny Middleton, jumping onto her lap and talking, but with Camilla he's more professional, saying hello before returning to his parents. It seems he recognizes that Camilla is unlike the other grandmothers, the friend stated. Camilla is quietly hurt by William's children's lack of love. However, aware of the sensitivities, she hides her sadness. Camilla has waited decades for royal family and public approval. She will not risk family conflict now. First frost signs, Jubilee and funeral, 2022. The late Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee in June 2022 revealed this subtle dynamic. George, 8, attended major Jubilee events with his family over the weekend. The baby prince rode in a carriage with his mother Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, now Princess of Wales, and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, during the Trooping the Colour parade. Camilla and Catherine sat next to each other, while George and his brothers faced them. That day, George sat across from Camilla with his hands in his lap, peering at the crowd. Camilla, wearing a crimson cloak, smiled politely while looking ahead. The clamor of praise and the boy's desire to stay close to his mother likely prevented much interaction throughout the journey. The tableau showed their connection was formal. Formality permeated Jubilee events. George, his parents, and siblings watched the Queen speak from Buckingham Palace's balcony. Next to Prince Charles, Camilla stood back. George and Camilla were unrecognizable as family members laughed and waved at the overpass. Camilla did not engage with the children during the flyover, unlike the Queen, who stooped down to chat with Prince Louis. She maintained a respectful distance, one critic observed of Camilla's caution with her step-grandchildren in public. The state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022 examined the family dynamic more closely than the Jubilee. George, 9, followed his great-grandmother's casket with his parents in grief. He and 7-year-old Princess Charlotte were the youngest in the emotional procession. In Westminster Abbey, the kids sat in the front row with William and Catherine, facing Charles and Camilla. Among the mournful songs and eulogies, a little family drama occurred. George grabbed Charlotte's arm in a fit of restlessness, causing Charlotte to yell, according to several sources. Princess Catherine quickly calmed her kids. Camilla nearby was upset. Eyewitness lip readers reported Camilla looked at Catherine and muttered, "Take her." In that anxious time, the Queen Consort was telling Catherine to remove or chastise Charlotte for the outburst. A brief online meeting video suggested Camilla's displeasure with the children's behavior. Despite its briefness, the conversation left a lasting impression. Catherine gently stroked Charlotte's shoulder, calming her. The experience was unsettling. "The tension in the royal pew was palpable," claimed one spectator. Speculations about harsher statements were hidden from the public. A tabloid said that Camilla barked at the kids for fidgeting throughout the ceremony, leading Princess Catherine to cry. Courtiers have never confirmed this dramatic story, and some experts say it was overblown. Camilla may have reprimanded Charlotte without jeopardizing their relationship, according to body language analyst Judy James, since Charlotte looked unfazed. Whether the burial was gentle or dramatic, it revealed hidden tensions. Camilla preferred propriety. Catherine preferred comforting her children. Prince George was old enough to understand the seriousness of the situation, but too little to handle the rigorous expectations. Camilla's gentle silencing of the royal children contributed to a narrative of strained relations. The royal watcher said, "On that day, George discovered that Granny Camilla's patience has boundaries." Conflicts over the Coronation and Official Front, 2023. Prince George's role and contacts were probed during King Charles III's coronation in May 2023. The 9-year-old prince was one of 4 pages of honor to his grandpa during the historic ceremony. George, wearing a red uniform, led King Charles into Westminster Abbey, maintaining his gown's train. He confidently handled the heavy load as a child, seldom making a mistake. Meanwhile, family connections were complex around the momentous event. Instead of George or Charlotte, Queen Camilla chose her 3 grandsons, teenage twins Gus and Louis Lopes and Freddie Parker Bowles, as her pages of honor. Camilla undoubtedly wanted her loved ones invited, but the decision showed how the king's and queen's households functioned differently that day. George was clearly with his grandfather, not his step-grandmother. The coronation event saw few George-Camilla interactions. They went alone, Charles with his page grandson, and Camilla with her young pages. George looked forward upon approaching Camilla, according to Abbey observers. He stood many yards behind the king throughout the coronation, focused. Camilla, newly crowned queen, smiled at Charles, ignoring the young page behind them. Camilla seemed weak and hesitant during her coronation, according to a body language specialist. A matriarchal character may find comfort in family, possibly by smiling with her step-grandson. No such interaction happened. George breathed a youthful sigh of relief as the newly crowned king and queen and their family entered Buckingham Palace's balcony following the ceremony. He seemed comfortable among the royals in formation. George showed his tongue on the balcony during the joyful fly-past. Town and Country magazine stated that children remain children ultimately, as the 9-year-old mischievously reminded them. A tiny soldier maintaining decorum, George had a relatively stoic demeanor in his uniform that day. Royal specialists studied the balcony in detail. Camilla stood behind King Charles, welcoming the crowds, while George stayed behind with the pages and his parents. George looked at his younger brother Louis and murmured. The cameras never caught George and Camilla interacting throughout the celebrations. Some home viewers wondered whether the move was a staging error or a purposeful decision. George gazed beyond Camilla as if she were invisible when he addressed Louis, according to one writer. The prince was probably only worried about his siblings. The representation of the future king secretly talking to his brother, while the current queen remained unnoticed feet away, has major consequences for court intrigue. Palace insiders denied neglect. They stated George followed the balcony instructions carefully. They had instructed him to behave perfectly, and he was likely too nervous to act spontaneously, except for one impudent moment of tongue-sticking. According to People magazine, William and Kate had prepared their son for his role as a page during the coronation, calling it a significant opportunity and part of understanding the royal protocols. George's formal demeanor toward Camilla was only a reflection of the event's mature decorum. Others saw George's conduct with various relatives. George seemed relaxed when his father touched his shoulder, or Grandpa Charles smiled from the balcony. Camilla was not so affable. He did not pursue her in any manner, claimed a body language specialist. George's gaze is on his granddad, the king, or the crowd below in multiple coronation photographs, never Camilla. In Charles's most important moment, George looked emotionally pulled to him and ignored the woman beside him. Assessing public interactions and nonverbal communication, George-Camilla relationship analysis was enhanced by each royal event in the months following the coronation. Professional body language experts and royal watchers discussed the young prince and queen consort's behavior together. Joyful expressions, in conversation, continued reserve. Trooping, the color people regularly mentioned 2023, King Charles's first birthday parade in June. Prince George sat next to Queen Camilla in a carriage procession leaving Buckingham Palace that day. George joined Camilla and Princess Catherine in the open landau in a dapper blue suit. It was an opportune moment to demonstrate unity. A cordial yet distant atmosphere was observed in the carriage. Camilla, wearing a scarlet military cloak and feathery tiara, graciously welcomed the crowd. Catherine, dressed in emerald green, spoke with spectators and photographers. What about George? He watched the spectacle from the side or ahead, sometimes looking at his step-grandmother. One photo from the trip shows Prince George leaning away, watching the march behind them, while Camilla sits upright and unsmiling. Princess Catherine smiles at the crowd as she mediates between her son and stepmother-in-law. A body language expert reports that during the carriage journey, all 3 children are completely engrossed in the moment, paying minimal attention to Camilla. Instead, they enjoy the group experience and context, while Camilla shows no affection for them. The children and Camilla appeared to ignore each other, perhaps more interested in the public show than in personal engagement. A more positive observer noted that Camilla occasionally looked chatty and relatively relaxed with the kids in the carriage, but only briefly. Even casual family vacations were examined. Consider Christmas Day, 2022 at Sandringham. Charles's first Christmas as king. The royal family attended services at St. Mary Magdalene Church that morning, allowing the public to view them. King Charles and Camilla predated William, Catherine, and their 3 children. Photographers captured a sweet moment as Prince Louis left his parents and walked with Camilla on the brisk church return. The Queen, who can be tense in public, calmed as 4-year-old Louis spoke. Camilla's worries were eased by Louis's kindness. Judy James remarked that Camilla's repetitive eye movements while aligning herself with her husband showed internal tension, while Louis's choice to withdraw himself from his parents to be with her suggested a desire to brighten her spirits and help her relax. Louis's impulsivity made Gaga smile, but George didn't. The older boy watched William and Kate with his hands in his coat pockets, shyly. Camilla thanked Louis for joining her for the family's special Christmas meal, insiders said. She reportedly ruffled his hair and called him "my little gentleman," making him chuckle. George seemed disconnected, according to a witness. Although polite, he didn't rush to talk or play with Camilla. He showed remarkable courtesy, no mischievous behavior from George that day. Yet he was not excessively attached to Camilla, the source claimed. Charlotte engaged in more conversation with Camilla, inquiring about her brooch and hat. Princess Charlotte, now 8, and Camilla share a love of horses and equestrian-themed brooches, which has helped Camilla get along with Charlotte. George is more reserved and possibly more guarded. What's behind the coolness? Prince George's seeming distancing from Queen Camilla has prompted royal experts and fans to speculate. Princess Diana's legacy is important. Diana died before George's birth, but her legacy lives on in the royal family and Wales home. William and Catherine reportedly discuss Granny Diana with their kids and remember her at decisive moments. Charlotte has Diana as her middle name and displays photos of Diana on the walls. George may have unknowingly protected Diana's memory due to his adoration for his grandmother. Adults perceive Queen Camilla as Diana's other woman in her marriage to Charles. Despite the belief that William and Kate would not raise their kid to dislike Camilla, children are sensitive to emotions. You can see the implied sensitivity in action. According to a family friend, George understands that his Granny Diana is cherished and exceptional despite her being in heaven. He is sophisticated enough to know that Queen Camilla was not his grandfather's first wife. This concept is difficult for a young person to grasp. George may understand that showing excessive affection for Camilla may be seen as a betrayal of Diana's legacy, even if no one has told him this. Prince William also matters. William and his stepmother had a rocky start. William and Harry kept their distance from Camilla following Diana's death. A source claimed they have consistently harbored distrust for Camilla and felt animosity toward her due to their loyalty to their mother. They never felt comfortable telling her their genuine views. William has grown to like Camilla as she has supported Charles and not invaded his family. Kate Middleton supposedly arranged the relationship. However, William remembers his mother's pain. He has a courteous and cooperative relationship with Queen Camilla as the heir apparent, but their relationship is not familial. George may be copying his father's deliberateness with Camilla. Children watch their parents and behave toward relatives. Papa is polite to Granny Camilla, but not to Grandma Carol or Queen Elizabeth II, so George follows suit. According to royal historian Robert Lacey, the Windsor family functions on implicit agreements. In this scenario, Wales may regard Camilla, but not adore her. The Queen might favor this arrangement in light of the troublesome alternatives. A royal insider says, Camilla never sought to impose the title Grandma or any designation that might distress William. Maintaining formality avoids overstepping limits and provoking enmity. Camilla loves being Gaga to her biological grandkids, which suits her caring nature. She may need to maintain her distance from Charles's grandchildren. Nonverbal cues provide important details about this encounter. Camilla sometimes appears awkward and apprehensive when dealing with small children at royal engagements, and her grandkids prefer Charles to her, according to Judy James. She frequently stands rigidly, maybe owing to anxiousness or fear of crossing boundaries. Prince George's feelings? At 10, he is a serious and somber child who understands his destiny as king. A People magazine insider claimed William and Kate are in a significant balancing act in raising George, trying to provide him a conventional childhood while preparing him for his future duties. The preparation emphasizes accountability, respect, and royal order knowledge. In such an arrangement, George knows Camilla is queen and his grandfather's consort, but not his grandma. His public behavior toward her follows the norm. He bows when appropriate, kisses her cheek during formal pleasantries, and acts like a gentleman around her. George treats Camilla with an almost antique formality, reminiscent of how royals from former ages treated distant relatives. Compare this to his conduct with his parents, whispering in his father's ear, tugging on his mother's coat, and Grandpa Charles, laughing or holding his hand. In contrast, Camilla symbolizes the official royal sphere in which George must participate, not his intimate group. Child psychologists say George is navigating a mixed family dynamic under challenging circumstances. Children typically feel less attached to step-grandparents, especially if they love their original grandparents. Warmth is less evident in George's public interactions with Camilla, when he is careful to be polite. A therapist said that children in these situations frequently echo their parents' beliefs, and that building trust with a step-family member, particularly affectionate Camilla, takes time. George may not know Camilla well. Although Camilla and Charles spend vacations and certain weekends with the Wales children at Highgrove, George is supposed to spend most of his spare time with his immediate family and the Middletons, save for formal functions. Restricted interaction may cause discomfort. Family balance and future prospects. Prince George and Queen Camilla's story evolves. George may become more cordial with his step-grandmother by 2024 as he enters his teenage years and gains confidence in his royal duties. Palace sources say King Charles has quietly encouraged Camilla and George to spend more time together in Balmoral and Sandringham during summers and Christmases to promote family cohesiveness. We've made progress. We enjoyed hot chocolate and spoke about George's favorite subject, helicopters and aviation. A source close to the Queen said, Camilla has been endeavoring to cultivate a connection in her discreet manner. She understands she will never attain the title of Granny, yet she desires to be regarded by George as a reliable confidant during his maturation. George's disposition, William and Kate's comfort, and historical context will determine whether this will happen. A recent milestone revealed this connection's potential development. Following his 11th birthday, George attended his grandpa and step-grandmother's Buckingham Palace Gala, commemorating World War II heroes, in May 2025, his most significant royal engagement to date. On the 80th anniversary of VE Day, King Charles and Queen Camilla hosted a tea gathering for senior veterans. Prince George joined his parents to help, surprising and delighting everyone. The little prince experienced his first formal event. George shook hands with military veterans and listened to their stories as the cameras filmed, frequently imitating his father William's actions. As co-host, Queen Camilla alternated between George and guests on the opposite side. George spent much of the event with his father, according to witnesses. He sits alongside William and Camilla, further away in group photos. George and Camilla had no family tie, yet they worked together toward a common goal. Both supported the king and honored warriors. Thus, it showed a functional, but not personal family. Royal family insiders caution against exaggerating George and Camilla's tension. A royal journalist stated, "There is no war here, merely a deficiency in intimacy." Prince George is growing, and his emotions and comfort levels are changing. Queen Camilla, in her mid-70s, has mastered her job as queen and may get closer to her step-grandchildren. She and George admire King Charles, which may lead to their developing friendship. Royal watchers will continue to study subtle cues like looks, gestures, and body language for clues. Every family is unique, even the most famous. Prince George's relationship with Queen Camilla may never be as warm as with Diana or Grandma Carol. However, respect and maybe understanding underpin the connection. The tension is in the unspoken interactions between them. History and public scrutiny have shaped the perspectives of a young prince and a once hated, now revered queen. As the focus wanes, and George grows into a young man who can choose his relationship with his step-grandmother, whom he now observes with polite distance and boyish trepidation, a deeper bond may emerge. Before that, every public smile and furtive glance between the prince and the queen will be meticulously chronicled to tell the story of a modern royal family trying to balance tradition and modernity. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.